We are Marvel. We're too confidential. Load of BS. But this is what they're trying to say. They're saying Reynolds said to Blake, I should be there. I need to shine right now.
Because of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, what was supposed to be a successful PR tour for their blockbuster projects has abruptly turned into a catastrophe that is revealing everything the studio attempted to conceal behind those flawless smiles. And practiced interviews, a shocking truth about the couple's relationship, and Marvel's desperate attempts to conceal the Nicepool controversy, Marvel executives are currently in full panic mode. Stay tuned as I explain how this meticulously planned marketing campaign fell apart in real time, and why fans are feeling so deceived by what they're learning.
Then we're gonna kill him in the movie, ha ha ha, and then we'll do this scene too. Oh, do another Justin joke, do another Justin joke. I'm sorry, but the more I see all this, the more I really dislike Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. They are petty, spiteful bullies. Now, I don't know Justin Baldoni from Adam. I don't know what happened on the set. I don't know if he is what he is. I know his own team has made text messages sort of calling him out. So he's going to have to face all that himself. And I'm not here to pile on because he's facing a lot. At the end of the day, though, these two are so powerful, Ryan and Blake, that I am starting to feel bad for Justin in a way, because I understand why so many of you are going Team Justin, because look, he's getting bullied. Now, does he deserve the bullying? Was he inappropriate on the set? That's the big question. Were these inappropriate actions really worthy of a lawsuit, etc.? And if it was that serious, why are you doing these very long, petty attacks to try to get at him, shoot him? Like, to me, this does not help Blake Lively's case at all. This pettiness, these jokes, this isn't something you joke about. I'm with Justin's lawyer on this. This is a hugely sad thing to discover that Blake and Ryan thought this was worthy fodder to joke about, because I don't find it funny. And I thought we weren't supposed to find it funny. It's not a he said, she said. Why were you cracking jokes about it in the movie?
What if everything you've seen of Blake and Ryan lately is a well-planned performance? Their matching premiere attire, their passionate looks on packed red carpets, and their viral interview moments where they can't stop complimenting one another all look too good to be true. Actually, we've watched them for years as Hollywood's golden couple. Their brand is based on being relatable, yet glamorous, humorous, yet loyal, and they consistently manage to appear both aspirational and grounded in their Instagram posts of their lovely family life. The internet loves them every time, but something odd has been going on behind those perfect smiles. During their recent appearances, body language experts have begun to notice strange trends. One expert noted how Blake's posture drastically changes as the camera turns toward them. Her tense shoulders, fixed smile, and subtle distance from Ryan are not typical couple behaviors, especially for two people who are ostensibly deeply in love. Have you noticed how frequently they mention each other on social media lately? It's not a coincidence, it's a strategy. Prior to Blake's It Ends With Us press tour, they averaged one couple post per month. Now it's almost weekly, always with expertly written captions that seem to have been written by a committee rather than a spouse discussing It Ends With Us. Blake's interviews for the film contain the most awkward mentions of Ryan. Watch them again, notice how she unnaturally works his name into answers about completely unrelated topics in her Today Show appearance. The host asked about working with the director, and somehow Blake managed to mention Ryan's support 3 times in a 60-second answer. Nobody actually talks like that. Meanwhile, Ryan's jokes about Blake during Deadpool press interviews have taken on a strange edge. His trademarks, playful teasing, now carries a subtle bite that wasn't there before. During a junket in London, he referred to their home life as playing parts for different audiences, a comment that made the interviewer visibly uncomfortable. The timing of their family photos raises serious questions too. Remember that adorable candid shot of them baking cookies with their kids that hit Instagram last month? It appeared online exactly 3 hours after the first whispers of tension between them started circulating. In industry circles, every spontaneous family moment they share happens suspiciously close to negative press. The most telling is the abrupt June merger of their public relations departments, which sources within their agency indicate both celebrities had separate public relations departments that occasionally collaborated before operating under a single administration. Celebrities' picture-perfect relationship truly disintegrating behind the scenes is a tactic commonly used when they need strict message control during personal struggles. The data suggests that a couple is struggling to keep up appearances while experiencing severe personal stress. Their increasingly stiff public presentations give the impression that two professionals are carrying out a plan rather than two lovers sharing their lives. But when Blake walked the red carpet for her own film premiere, it was impossible to overlook the flaws in their facade.
But this is what they're trying to say. They're saying Reynolds said to Blake, I should be there. I need to shine right now. That was what apparently, and then said, you need to understand what I am saying to you right now. Now, if that's true, that sounds very bad and controlling. Blake was then pictured placing a hand on Ryan's cheek and said, kiss me one more time, which then he did, shared a kiss, and then he got up to do the speech. So we'll talk about that later today during our live. I want to go through the lip reading, so make sure you join us today live as we watch that and see, is that realistic? Do we buy it? Because I'm on the fence. What I want to talk about now, which we're also going to talk in more depth during the live, is this Marvel dispute. Now, Marvel has now responded and said, nah, we're not doing anything. We're not taking this seriously. Enough is enough. Here is Marvel's response. This is coming in from Marvel's side first. Deadpool and Wolverine features a number of different versions of the Deadpool character, including Lady Deadpool, Dogpool, Kidpool, Headpool, Nicepool. The Wayfarer parties make brief reference to Nicepool in their first amended complaint. Specifically, they allege that Reynolds and Lively continue to leave breadcrumbs in the campaign for mocking and bullying defendant Justin Baldoni by including Nicepool as a vicious caricature of Baldoni, and that scenes with Nicepool were intended to be a transparent and mocking portrayal of Reynolds' warped perception of Baldoni. The subpoena calls for the production of all documents and communications concerning the creation, development, modification, or portrayal of the character Nicepool from Deadpool Wolverine. It also calls for the production of all documents, communications concerning Baldoni. Marvel further understands from a notice provided by Reynolds that the RFPs call for Nicepool-related documents from Reynolds. The documents at issue are irrelevant to the resolution of the claims asserted in this case. The requested documents are particularly sensitive because they relate to the development of a character in an ongoing movie franchise. Marvel has built the success of the MCU in large part by interconnecting storylines, plots, characters across its titles, including crossover events and sequels. Whether and how such elements will appear in upcoming unreleased project is the subject of much public interest, and this information is closely guarded by Marvel. You mean like when you put all those chairs and told us about all of the characters that are appearing in the next movie?
There's a reason why no one is discussing that awkward moment when Blake appeared to remove herself from Ryan during a crucial press interview. Fans anticipated the typical Blake Ryan roadshow, which he has become known for by attending premieres, posting heartfelt support messages, and making his trademark jokes about his wife's success. However, something odd happened. Ryan was completely absent from every major event, including the big premiere, press junkets, talk show appearances, and even the small screening events where Hollywood couples usually make appearances together. This wasn't a scheduling conflict, according to industry sources. The press cycle for It Ends With Us began with a lot of excitement surrounding Blake's biggest solo project in years, as she played a beloved book character. Ryan had several days off during her most crucial promotional events, but the bombshell revealed the reality behind those staged interviews when Blake's publicity staff leaked a note to media sites. A list of forbidden personal subjects, such as inquiries concerning marital support for the project home-life balance and, most tellingly, joint planned appearances, was included in the paper that was distributed to all reporters who were due. To see Blake during her biggest press tour, her team was actively working to keep Ryan from being discussed. However, when an Entertainment Weekly reporter asked Blake about Ryan's feelings about the film's delicate themes, the footage showed her physically freezing for 7 awkward seconds. Her publicist attempted to interrupt, but Blake eventually muttered something about having separate creative lives before hurriedly calling on another journalist. The identical story is told by the clip that circulated through industry channels but was never posted on Blake's social media. Her Instagram, which had previously been full of adorable romantic posts, abruptly changed to an It Ends With Us advertisement with no references to Ryan or Deadpool. The situation reached a crisis level when Blake canceled 3 scheduled joint appearances with just 48 hours notice, breaking their years-long pattern of public support. Industry insiders began speculating when the couple canceled a major variety show, a planned dual appearance on Jimmy Fallon, and, most shockingly, the Marvel fan event where both were announced as special guests. According to sources inside the studio, Marvel's PR team rushed to book replacement celebrities and made up stories about production commitments to hide the fact that the real reason was the London press conference footage taken by attendees. Prior to the official live stream, the entire It Ends With Us promotion became less about the movie and more about what wasn't being said and who wasn't there. Blake was visibly upset, wiping her eyes as her publicist whispered passionately in her ear as the cameras officially began rolling. A few moments later, she had changed into the perfectly composed star, but the damage was done. Nothing showed the mounting strain between Hollywood's golden pair more obviously than Blake's well-considered wardrobe choices, but the press tour that was intended to solidify Blake's independent star power instead served as a magnifying glass.
Marvel, we're too confidential. Load of BS. So here was the response coming back. Brilliant response. Marvel did not meet and confer with us in good faith to resolve this dispute. Marvel sent the Wayfarer parties a letter containing its objections to the subpoena. On April 7th, my office met and conferred with Marvel counsel via telephone about the objections, and although we attempted in good faith to address their concerns about confidentiality, Marvel's counsel interrupted us, refusing to engage in that discussion. Instead, Marvel's counsel interjected and stated he merely wanted to know what documents the Wayfarer parties really needed, regardless of the subpoena's demand for all documents. We responded that we wanted Marvel to search for and produce documents concerning Reynolds, a writer and star of the film, participation in the development of Nicepool, and the communications related to Baldoni, including the character's portrayal of Baldoni. Marvel's counsel agreed to discuss that limited subset of requested documents with Marvel, and the telephone call ended. However, the next communication that the Wayfarer parties received from Marvel's counsel was an email stating that Marvel would be moving to quash the subpoena and then its subsequent letter motion. Marvel's motion should be denied for its failure to meaningfully meet and confer prior to seeking judicial intervention. Even worse, Marvel's motion neglects to advise the court of the Wayfarer parties' proposal to narrow the scope of the subpoena as set forth above. Instead, Marvel inaccurately represents to the court that Wayfarer are seeking all documents about a character in a major film and all documents concerning an actor. To begin with, whether Nicepool is an expression of opinion or not, while perhaps relevant on a motion for summary judgment, is entirely irrelevant to determining the propriety of the Wayfarer party's subpoena. Indeed, even if the Nicepool character were found to be an expression of pure opinion and therefore inactionable in its own right, information concerning Nicepool and communications exchange and relations thereto would still clearly be relevant to, among other things, the question of Reynolds' alleged malice. Amen. Marvel further argues that the Nicepool documents are particularly sensitive because they relate to the development of a character in an ongoing movie franchise. Yet, as Marvel itself recognizes, this court has entered a protective order that provides for ample protection of any proprietary information. Marvel notes that whether and how unspecified storylines, plots, and characters will appear in upcoming releases is a subject of much public interest, closely guarded. However, the subpoena only seeks documents concerning Nicepool from one movie that has already been released. Thank you. Deadpool and Wolverine. In fact, the character does not appear in any other film in Marvel's franchise and will not appear in any future films since it was killed in its first appearance. The Wayfarer parties have proposed in good faith and to avoid any undue burden upon Marvel to narrow the subpoena to documents concerning Reynolds' participation in the development of Nicepool and communications concerning Baldoni. Marvel will not be prejudiced if the court declines to stay compliance with subpoena because the film has already been released and any non-public documents can be marked confidential pursuant to the protective order. We request that the court, deny this motion and that they comply. I mean, well said, well read. I saw Leanne on there applauding this. Well done.
Did you notice Blake's fashion statement's subliminal message? Fashion experts claim that the speak louder than words ensemble at the New York premiere wasn't a coincidence. Blake Lively has established herself as one of the most calculating fashion icons in Hollywood. Nothing she wears happens by accident. Every outfit has a backstory, and lately, that backstory has been telling volumes about her relationship with Ryan Blake. Her recent fashion choices have completely eliminated all the signature elements she used to share with Ryan, including the coordinated color schemes and matching accessories that defined their couple's era looks. Remember how they used to subtly match at every major event, those carefully planned moments of him and her? Her wardrobe strategy abruptly changed to designers known specifically for dressing recently divorced celebrities. Her last three major appearances included gowns by designers who famously dressed Jennifer Garner after Ben Affleck's split and Katie Holmes after her split from Tom Cruise. This isn't just any celebrity at her level choosing designers to convey specific messages to industry insiders. The most telling detail, the missing R initial jewelry she's worn consistently for years since 2012. Blake has never attended a major event without wearing some piece of jewelry featuring Ryan's initial a necklace, bracelet, or ring fashion watchers. Noticed immediately when she showed up to the It Ends With Us premiere with bare neck and wrists that our pendant was her signature accessory for over a decade, and now it's completely gone. The color psychology behind her new wardrobe choices speaks. Volumes 2, she's abandoned the soft pinks and blues of her couple era for bold reds, blacks, and golds colors representing independence and separation. According to fashion psychologists, these aren't just pretty dresses, they're statements about breaking free and standing alone. Look at the side-by-side comparisons of her couple era fashion versus her new solo aesthetic. The difference is shocking. Her previous looks were romantic, flowing, and complementary to Ryan's style. Her new wardrobe features structured lines, power silhouettes, and not a single element that would coordinate with his typical red carpet choices. Even more illuminating, the stylists who used to work with both Blake and Ryan are now only working with her. Patricia Field, who was their celebrity stylist for years, now only shows up in Blake's credits. According to industry insiders, the split occurred immediately following Blake's team's June merger with a new PR firm. This trend has been observed with other celebrities just prior to significant relationship announcements. Before announcing her breakup with Justin Theroux, Jennifer Aniston made similar style changes. Nicole Kidman's fashion development prior to her split from Tom Cruise was exactly the same strategy Blake is currently employing. How did Blake Lively's clothing choices unintentionally highlight their conflict with Ryan by methodically removing all visual cues associated with him, such as accessories, colors, and designers? Blake's clothes are screaming what her press releases won't say. Something has drastically changed in Hollywood's golden romance, but behind closed doors, Blake's ensembles were conveying a single tale. Fashion doesn't lie, even when publicists speak. Executives at Marvel were revealing another.
I agree. I think there is a lot of cherry picking from what we've seen now with Blake's lawsuit compared to Justin's, and that context all matters. And I do understand the logic of being like, it doesn't matter what the truth is. What matters is what people believe and what they see in the public. And I think so much of this case has been about media manipulation and those types of discussions. I will say, I think it's really difficult when Blake has started this saying that she has all these instances of harassment, and we're seeing them allegedly have video evidence that she's not accurate in what she said. And at that point, I fast forward in my brain to a potential jury trial, and I don't think the jury is going to respond well to that. You know, she says one thing happened, then they look at a video clip that proves that that's not what happened. I mean, it doesn't look good. Does not look
There's
good.
a ton of stuff. There's like talking about these scenes where she was filming her intimacy scenes that she's so troubled. Turns out she wrote them. Turns out she wrote them. She refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator, and then he let her direct it himself. And apparently, again, all this is on video. She made all these demands in that 17-point memo and changed them later. There's so much to this that I got to say, they provided evidence and receipts that make Blake Lively look tremendously bad. Tremendously bad. Now, he does talk about Ryan yelling at him as well. Ryan doesn't look great in this, but I can only assume Ryan's believing what he's hearing from Blake, and he's trying to defend his wife. He feels like his wife's being harassed. There is a part of this where I do wonder if Ryan's just being bamboozled by his own sociopath, narcissistic wife. We have seen it before, Kim. Now, I don't know, but I want to give him the benefit of the doubt too, and some of these people. And that's where I hope someone in this story will actually speak out. And I implored it earlier in my live, and I want to do it again. If you are involved in this case, you can remain confidential. Please reach out to us. Help us get the truth in this. Justin Baldini is being destroyed. I had no interest in sort of being Team Justin, but now I am, because I just feel for him. The way she stole this film from him, his editors, the producers, the way he made them pay for it all and then take the control completely from him. It's so manipulative and problematic. And it's like, if he really was the harasser she claims, why would she let him be involved at all? Why wouldn't she just left?
At a high level, here's what Marvel is frantically attempting to conceal. A Marvel source recently revealed that emergency meetings were held following the events at the London showing. Deadpool Marvel has committed almost $250 million in Wolverine and is hoping for a $1 billion box office, so it's not simply another superhero film. The foundation of Ryan Reynolds' marketing strategy is their public persona. He sells as many tickets as the Deadpool character thanks to his endearing family man attitude. Marvel executives have been keeping a close eye on Blake and Ryan's public appearances with increasing concern, according to internal emails. They have set up a special Slack channel where team members monitor and examine every joint appearance. Social media post and interview for indications of tension. The emails reveal growing concern about obvious strain and strange interactions that could jeopardize the movie's promotional tour. In order to manage the couple's public image during both film releases, Marvel didn't just worry, they took action. They hired 3 more crisis PR specialists from renowned firm Sunshine Sachs. These specialists had experience with high-profile celebrity divorces and were brought in with the sole goal of maintaining the ideal Blake Ryan image at all costs, until both films' theatrical runs were over. Within hours of Ryan's spontaneous remark about challenging circumstances at home during an Australian television interview, the true terror began. At 2:00 a.m. Los Angeles time, Marvel officials convened an urgent damage control meeting. Disney, PR heads, Marvel's crisis team, and representatives from each actor's personal management were among the guests. In an attempt to flood social media with positive Blake Ryan content, Marvel has covertly paid over a dozen celebrity fan accounts to post throwback photos and relationship goals content featuring the couple. They have even created a fake fan account that posts exclusively about Blake and Ryan's relationship and gained 50,000 followers in just 2 weeks. The 5-hour meeting resulted in a complete media blackout for Ryan for the next 48 hours while they regrouped. Have you noticed more candid paparazzi photos lately? Those aren't coincidences. Marvel worked with amiable paparazzi agencies to capture Blake and Ryan appearing content together during well-planned scenes. Before being sent to media outlets, the images are examined and authorized by Marvel's public relations staff. The stakes are high for Marvel's parent corporation because the studio actually planned 8 impromptu family vacations in the past month alone. After rumors of problems between its golden marriage surfaced on Reddit, Disney's stock price fell 2.3% in a single day. The correlation was so obvious that internal financial experts cautioned the publicity department to keep the narrative contained for the sake of shareholder confidence. The leaked letter regarding containment tactics for future premiere events is the most illuminating. The document provides pre-approved interview topics, details Blake and Ryan's precise red carpet arrival time, their physical closeness requirements for images, and even a minute-by-minute timeline of their impromptu exchanges. Everything, even their last kiss, has been pre-written. The entire Deadpool Wolverine marketing plan depends on Ryan's likable family man image, which is getting tougher to sustain as his relationship with Blake displays obvious fissures. This is why Marvel execs are currently freaking out about their golden couple. The film's meticulously planned advertising campaign will also fail if their personal brand suffers, but no amount of PR preparation could stop what transpired on the red carpet. Although the encounter only lasted 7 seconds, body language experts claimed that the London premiere of Deadpool Wolverine was intended to be Blake and Ryan's victorious reunion on the red carpet, but Marvel's damage control revealed all they had been keeping from viewers. Both celebrities had a contractual obligation to go together, which Marvel added especially to maintain the ideal pair image for their biggest movie of the year. For hours, spectators waited in line to watch Hollywood's golden couple in action. When Ryan reached to put his arm around Blake's waist for the traditional couple pose, she visibly stiffened and moved away from his touch. Her smile never wavered for the cameras, but her body spoke the truth. The event began as planned, but then it happened. That brief but revealing moment captured on dozens of cameras simultaneously. Before he recovered, Ryan's hand hovered awkwardly in midair for a little second before resting on her shoulder in a notably less personal position. Watch the video again and you'll see that they hardly made eye contact during their 23 minutes on the carpet, indicating tension in their body language during the entire event. Instead of truly enjoying themselves, their smiles seemed staged and forced, the kind that superstars employ when they act. Even though they lived in the same direction as the venue, Blake continued to physically separate them by taking tiny steps away anytime Ryan approached. As a result, they never even arrived together. Ryan arrived at 6:42 p.m. in a black Escalade, and Blake arrived 9 minutes later in a silver Mercedes. Inside the venue, sources confirmed that they had separate green rooms backstage, which is unusual for a married couple making a joint appearance. Ryan spoke exclusively to entertainment outlets focused on the movie, while Blake chose lifestyle reporters who asked more general questions about fashion and her upcoming projects. When asked about Blake's work, Ryan gave generic answers about being proud of everything she does. Blake didn't bring up Deadpool in her interviews, even though the movie was her husband's biggest project. Their public relations teams worked hard to create the appearance of unity, and one assistant was seen on fan footage physically guiding Blake back toward Ryan when she naturally strayed away during photo calls. An additional team member kept whispering cues to stand closer and hold hands. No truly happy couple would have to contrast this with their previous appearances, where they usually worked the carpet for more than an hour, joking with reporters and genuinely enjoying each other's company. Instead, they hurried through the event in less than 25 minutes, which is the bare minimum required by their contracts. What's more telling is that they both left separately and canceled their appearances at the after-party, citing ambiguous early morning commitments. The awkward red carpet incident, where Blake physically rebuffed Ryan's attempt at closeness while keeping her camera smile as a relationship guru, revealed the flaws in their ostensibly flawless marriage. Fans become suspicious of their relationship. When Nicole Moore highlights the disparity between their public displays of devotion and their physical responses, but Ryan's own words were the last straw in this collapsing PR catastrophe.
Ryan was so petty enough after all this to create a whole character in Deadpool and Wolverine as a way of trolling Justin Baldoni. If you guys saw the movie, there's a character, his name in it is Nicepool. Here's the clip in question that many are attributing as a trolling of Justin.
But in here, everybody calls me Nicepool. Oh my goodness, wait till you see Ladypool. She is gorgeous.
Ladypool was played by Blake Lively.
She just had a baby too, and can't even tell. I don't think you're supposed to say that. That's okay. I identify as a feminist. Right.
There it is. That's the theory, that he was man buns and all, that this was all a knock on Justin. Now, Justin infamously had a man bun. In fact, he cut it off for charity, guys. But there he is. There's a lot of images you can see of old Justin, which I got to be honest, to look a little bit like Man Bun Nicepool. And the whole identify as a feminist, clearly Ryan trying to mock him and say that it's nonsense. And I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know Justin at all, but I will say, man, this is a massively huge level of pettiness from Ryan. Now, again, if everything they're saying happened against Justin, I can understand why Ryan is upset. But feels like a weird thing to joke about if it was as serious as Blake claims. Really, to just like mock this like fake feminist in your movie as the nice guy in the film. It's all just giving me a headache as to really, was this really good for the movie? Because honestly, I wasn't a huge fan of the Nicepool character. I thought this whole character was a weird, it's a bad part, a lot, not as funny part of the movie. And to think that Ryan, who I'm a huge fan of, was a huge fan of. Look, this whole issue, Colonel Kurtz said it really well. I haven't seen unforced errors like this since, well, Amber. However, the situation resolves. It's astounding how Blake Lively has committed huge strategic, unforced errors and turned a season of bad social media that had already resolved with the giant success of the movie, Facts, into potentially years of terrible public sentiment and online division. She no doubt thought she was dealing a death blow to Justin, but suddenly things aren't looking as smug. This is where the problem arises. This story was over. People were moving on. I think even people would have forgotten and moved on and said, oh, she was bad in those junkets, and she could have fixed it in the next round of press. But now this lawsuit, these text messages, everything that they're doing, the theories, the idea that Ryan was behind it and then put him in the movie, it was that bad. This has made what was just a stupid, I think, disagreement, some maybe uncomfortable moments on set, into something far.
We discovered that last week, Ryan Reynolds sat down with a small Portuguese entertainment station for what should have been a standard Deadpool promotional interview. Ryan revealed something so revealing in this now scrubbed interview that Marvel legally compelled its removal within hours. Ryan lacked the well-thought-out talking points that usually accompany his media appearances because Marvel's stringent PR staff neglected to screen this specific outlet. The interviewer began with conventional questions about the movie before deviating from the script and bringing up the enigmatic Nicepool topic, which Marvel has made a valiant effort to hide. Ryan appeared tense at the remark and was obviously unprepared for this line of inquiry. So what precisely is the Lovely Pool debate about? Due to mounting evidence that Ryan's well-known nice guy persona conceals allegedly challenging on-set conduct, Marvel has been suing to keep records pertaining to the pleasant Poolul character from being made public, according to court filings. According to the Wayfair parties, Ryan and Blake made fun of and harassed the Lovely Pool figure. To protect the privacy of these records, Justin Baldoni, Marvel's legal staff, has begun sending takedown letters. Ryan made his telling slip when the Portuguese interviewer pressed him about Blake's absence from important promotional events, pointing out that they hadn't been spotted together at multiple scheduled appearances. Sometimes keeping up appearances gets exhausting. Playing nice for the cameras isn't the same as actually being nice. You know, people see what we want them to see. Marvel's legal team moved into overdrive within hours of this interview airing, formally requesting that the channel and all platforms that shared footage remove the content. Industry sources don't believe Marvel's official answer to the issue, which stated that they were safeguarding private data on character development and interrelated plotlines inside the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Marvel's opposition appears to be more about safeguarding their celebrity than it is about protecting their trade secrets. According to the court filings, Marvel is saying that disclosing details about Nicepool would encourage rumors and innuendo, so acknowledging that reputational harm rather than plot spoilers is the true worry. This interview's stark contradiction to the picture is what makes it so harmful. For years, Ryan and Blake have meticulously upheld their brand, which is based on coming across as sincere and grounded rather than playing nice for the cameras. The most telling aspect of Ryan's unguarded comment is Blake's total social media silence after the interview. She hasn't liked, commented, or posted anything online for 9 days, which is her longest absence from platforms in 5 years. According to people close to her, she is incensed about Ryan's unplanned revelations. The Wayfair parties attempted to focus their document requests on Reynolds' role in creating Nicepool and communications pertaining to Baldoni, but Marvel's legal counsel ended the talks, stating that their strategy was obstruction and delay. Since the movie had already been released, their resistance was even more dubious. The most concerning, according to insiders, several of Ryan's friends and acquaintances are afraid that this legal dispute may reveal their actual sentiments for him. What began as a straightforward promotional trip for 2 blockbuster films suddenly came crashing down, and the ideal Hollywood couple's carefully crafted image isn't just cracking, it's breaking apart. In conclusion, movies have destroyed the ideal picture. As Deadpool, Wolverine, and It Ends With Us vie for viewers' attention, the bigger question remains, will fans ever again see Blake and Ryan the same way? Blake and Ryan spent years creating the facade, but now the masks have fallen, revealing the truth about Hollywood's golden couple and Marvel's desperate attempts to hide it all. The collapse of Blake and Ryan's facade may be the most honest Hollywood story this year. The PR disaster has altered everything. Celebrity relationships rarely resemble what was depicted in meticulously prepared images.